Find my tunage. So welcome to your gentle flow and stretch. So we will move a little bit, right? This isn't like a deep stretch class. It's not a restore practice, but it's just enough flow to get everything moving, to let you feel supple within your body, while at the same time holding the stretchy stuff a little bit longer than maybe you would get to in a traditional flow class. But also not going so deep into like a yin because you are a little bit warmer. And the idea is that with yin, you don't want your body to be super warm because you can stretch too much, you can overstretch, and that can lead to injury, right? So go ahead and grab a couple blocks for me. And if you don't have blocks, you can use books or anything, or you can skip it, right? Because that's also allowed. You don't have to do everything. If you would like to open up in an opening supported fish pose or opening shavasana, and if you are following along with my playlist, it's Love Yourself on Spotify. So just find that, go ahead and cue it up. And then let's take our time to find a way to drop in. If you're moving into this supported fish, you might notice that I have one block is higher, the back of my head is going to rest there. And then one block is lower, and you're going to kind of figure out. Some people like for the block that's going to be supporting the backside of your heart space to be horizontal. Some people like it vertically. It's one of those things you've just got to feel it out for yourself, right? And so when you're ready, lean back. I like for the bottom edge to kind of hit me at the we're like for women who wear bras, not all women wear them, but it would be where the base of your bra line is. So think maybe your second to last floating rib, perhaps. And I'm even going to go a little bit higher today. Oh, look at me. My heart's just opening right up, y'all. All right. Um, Find your space. Let me figure out where I am here. There we go. Let your spine rest. Really let it go onto your block. And then you don't have to have the second block behind your head. I like it because I don't like my head hanging down. And then whatever you want your feet to do, you can take a Supta Baddha Konasana with your butterfly legs, soles of your feet together, heels in towards your sits bones, with your knees hanging comfortably open. Or you could have both feet planted on the earth as if you were going to set up for a bridge. Or your legs could extend forward in an opening Shavasana type thing. You can skip the blocks altogether, whatever you need. What I find is that if I get too attached to getting the blocks perfectly in the right spot and all of that, it's just not worth messing with the blocks and I just lay down. And then close down your eyes. Let's take a moment here to drop in, step out of your day, your week. Relax your brows and wiggle your jaw from side to side. And then notice how when you're here, your upper body begins to wrap around the block that is supporting the backside of your heart space. The front of your chest will slowly begin to open. And at least in my practice, I notice sometimes that as I become more supple, that's whenever I perhaps become a little bit more fearful. And then I start to clench, right? As my body opens, I try to control the opening. But see if this morning, as you notice yourself getting a little bit more comfortable here, rather than bracing for impact or clenching anything or fighting it, can you just lean in a little bit? As y'all have heard me say 1,000 times, how you do anything is how you do everything, typically. And so I notice this happens in my real life as well. Like as I start to open up and lean into something when it gets comfortable, I clench, I control, I brace, and at some point, we just got to let go and lean into the flow of whatever's happening because while we can influence, we cannot control. Your arms might reach out to the side body, or your hands can come down, palms facing up. And then wherever you are in your breath cycle, go ahead and exhale completely. And then inhale through your nose. Allow for your belly to expand, for your rib cage to open. And exhale either through your nose, through your mouth, whatever resonates with you this morning, let it all go. And we inhale. And exhale. Take about 2 to 3 more breaths here. Stay on your blocks if you like them. And then if you are still on your blocks, take your time. I would press my elbows, my forearms down, so draw your knees pointing up if they are splayed open, so that you can press your feet down as well, kind of roll over to one side, gently remove the blocks out from underneath you, and then immediately rest your spine on the ground and recalibrate. Don't do anything else, just be there. And then when you are ready, I'm going to ask everybody to plant your feet on the ground, point your knees up to the sky. Feet are about hip width distance apart. Take one inhale here, your low back presses down to the mat. And then exhale, hug your knees and towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your shin. And then let your knees kind of rock side to side, the hips side to side. It's a baby movement so that you get a massage of your low back down into the mat. Relax your shoulders from your ears. Take a deep breath in and out. And then drop your feet down to the ground about hip width distance apart. Your arms come down by the side body, palms face down. Your feet are hip width distance apart. Taking some bridge rolls here. Inhale, press your feet down. Roll your pelvis up. So roll the tops of your hip bones up towards your bottom floating ribs. And then let your hips lift up and off of the earth as you float your arms up and overhead. Palms face up, fingertips reach towards the back of your mat. And then exhale, soften yourself back down. Let your arms float back down, palms face down. And then inhale, float it back up, lift your hip bones, lift your hips, your bottom, your arms float high. The top of your sternum can reach up towards your chin, and then you slightly lift your chin away from your sternum. And then exhale to soften it all back down. So you're moving into your shoulder joint as well, right? We're focusing on this roll of the spine and the hips. But as you float your arms up and over, lubricating the shoulder joints as well. Inhale, we've got 3 more of these. Lift your hips, float your arms up. And exhale to bring it down. Last 2, inhale, press your feet down, float your hips up. And exhale to come down. Last one. Inhale, roll it up. And exhale to roll it back down. Take an inhale here. Exhale to a happy baby. Peace fingers to your big toes or hands to the inner outer arches of your feet. You can rock it side to side. And release your feet. Let your knees come back in towards your chest. Inhale to open your arms out to a T. Exhale, drop your knees to the right. Turn your face to the left. Get a supine spinal twist. Your right fingertips might rest on the outside of your left thigh or knee. Turn your gaze to the left. And then you inhale, float your knees back through center. And then exhale, drop your knees to the left. Turn your face to the right. Your left hand might rest on the outside of your right thigh, your right knee. Let both shoulders feel heavy. And with your inhale, come right back through center. As you exhale, slide your hands behind your thighs. Spinal rocks and rolls forward and backward. Let's take maybe 3 of these. With your inhale, lift your hips, rock it back. On the exhale, your low back stays rounded. Rock forward, tap your toes. Inhale, rock it back. Exhale, roll it forward. Last one, inhale. And exhale to Sukhasana. Cross your feet at your ankles so it's your comfortable, easy sit just right where you are. And then root your sits bones down into the ground. Float your arms up overhead. And then with your exhale, interlace your fingers, flip your palms towards the sky, and just get long. Breathing here. Allow for your floating ribs to lift up and away from the tops of your hip bones. Your gaze, your drishti is soft, perhaps towards the tip of your nose, or gazing softly at a space just in front of you. Let's take one more inhale right here. And then exhale, drop your hands down to the tops of your knees. And seated cat and cow pose. So as you inhale, rock your heart forward. You're going to roll forward on your sits bones. Roll your shoulders back. Press your heart between your upper arm bones. Lift your chin, perhaps your gaze. And then exhale to rock it back. Tuck your tail, navel towards your spine, and then really dome out your upper back. Inhale, round it forward. Roll your shoulders back. Let your heart press through. And then exhale to rock it back. Tuck your tail, tuck your chin. And I just want you to move freely here, which means it might go a little bit faster. You might stop and stay somewhere. Find the spot that works for you. As you rock forward, remember to press your heart forward, maybe lift your chin. And when you rock back, really separate your shoulder blades to the best of your ability. And then when you're ready, restack your shoulders over your hips. And then just take a few rotations through your rib cage. So it might feel like circles of the rib cage around. If the shoulders can stay steady, they can stay steady. And then go in the opposite direction. Take one more of these. Come right back into center. Unravel your feet. Bring them out about hip width distance apart. And slide your hands back behind your hips with your fingertips facing forward. Press down into the webbing between your thumb and your forefinger. And then inhale, lift your hips up to a reverse tabletop. Roll your shoulders back, broaden through your collarbones, lift your hips possibly into alignment with your thigh bones to your knees, and just gaze towards the ceiling. Now, I know some of you might like to drop your head back. If that's safe in your practice and you're doing it with control, okay, but like maybe just gaze at the ceiling today. Breathe. Take one more inhale, and then exhale, gently place your bottom back down on the ground. Cross your feet, come forward into a box pose, tabletop position. Stack your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, bring your knees underneath your hips. Now stay here for just a moment. Feel how your palms press down into the ground. So something to think about. You have bandhas, so we talk about this a lot in practice, your energy locks. They're also in your hands and your feet. So this one would be hasta bandha. So anytime your hands are down on the ground so that you're not over charging into your joints, press down into your finger pedals, the digits, right? The pads. And then let the outer perimeter of your hand seal down. And then there's this little soft center of your palm that slightly lifts. It's kind of like spidey hands, right? And then tuck up your toes, pull the pit of your belly in and up. Inhale here, and then nice and slow, exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Your heels may or may not kiss the ground. It's all good. Find your space. And then lift your tailbone up towards the sky. You can take a deep bend or gentle bend to the knees. Let your head hang down. We're not going to stay here for a super long time, right? Because down dog in and of itself can be intense if you're intending as a gentle practice, right? But do feel your heels reach down, whether they touch the ground or not. Get the stretch through the backside body. Maybe you pedal out your feet, walk your dog. And then inhale, lift your heels. Take your gaze forward. And exhale as many steps as you need to walk your feet to your hands at the top of your mat. Leave your feet about hip width distance apart. This is a great spot to grab your blocks and go ahead and prop them up at the top of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine. So take the crown of your head forward. Your hands could be on your blocks, on your shins, or on the ground. But I want you to take a second to really figure this one out, right? The hinge is at your hips, not at your waistline. So the crown of your head reaches forward, your tailbone pulls back. You're going to feel your inner thighs and your outer legs, like the IT bands, engage. Press your feet down and then pull your belly in and up. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, deepen the bend in your knees. Take your rib cage to your thighs and drop your head down. Breathe. So Uttanasana, your first forward fold, but maybe it's a ragdoll and you grab onto your opposite elbows and you sway side to side. Now let your fingertips come back down to the ground. Inhale to lengthen your spine. And on the exhale, your right hand creates an equilateral triangle with your feet. Soft bend into your right knee, left leg straightens. Reach your left arm up to the sky. Think of stacking your left shoulder on top of the right without switching up the hips at all. So your hips stay nice and level, squared. And then let's circle your left arm, reach your arm forward, down and back. So lubricating again your left shoulder joint. And then go in the opposite direction like a backstroke, yeah? And then one more inhale here. Exhale, drop your left hand down. Drape your chest to your thighs, drop your head down. Let your left hand inhale, extend your spine. Left hand replaces the right. Now the bend is in the left leg. The right leg gently straightens. It doesn't have to go all the way straight. It's just the action you're creating. And then reach your right arm up. Now I check my hips with my right hand, my low back. So try to stack your right clavicle on top of the left, right shoulder on top of the left. Reach your right arm up. And then once you're there, you start to circle it out by reaching forward first. Breathe. And then go in the opposite direction. So now you're going to move it back. And then last one. And then exhale back to your ragdoll. Now inhale, roll all the way up to standing. Nice and slow, one vertebra at a time. Once you get there, roll the shoulders back and down. Now inhale, reach your arms out and up. Get as long as you can first, and then exhale, drop your right hand down and reach your left arm up and over. So I'm going to wrap my right arm, my forearm, in front of my abdomen and take my right fingertips to my bottom floating rib, and I'm going to actually lift it up and off of the top of my hip. Now, if you feel this in your low back at all, take a gentle tuck of your pelvis so that the top of your pubic bone kind of pulls up towards your navel, lengthening through your low back. And then inhale, take both arms high. Get as long as you can first. And then exhale, your left arm reaches down, your right arm reaches up and over. Now take your left forearm if you like it, wrap it in front of your abdomen so the left fingertips find your bottom floating rib, right side, lift it up and away from the top of your hip. Lengthen through your lumbar spine. Breathe. And then you inhale, reach both arms back to the sky. Exhale, take your elbows back and down, lift your chest. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, chest to your thighs. Let the crown of your head drop down. Now inhale, lengthen your spine, hands to your blocks maybe. On the exhale, step your left foot to the back of your mat and soften your left knee down. All right, y'all. So from here, inhale. Your hands can be on either side on blocks, framing your front foot. Allow for your right knee to create a 90-degree bend. Let your pelvis soften down. Roll your shoulders back and start off. Think of stacking your shoulders over your hips. So you're going to deepen what's happening on the front of your left hip flexor, right? On the front of your left hip. Squeeze at the base of your pubic bone. So mula bandha is what keeps you lifted here and light rather than feeling like that Apanavayu, like that drawing down energy. Feel light, squeeze and lift. Shoulders back, collarbones are broad. Your gaze can be soft. Take one more inhale here. Now maybe your hands stay where they are. And exhale, shift your hips back. Straighten your right leg and flex your toes back towards your shin. Breathe. Check out your right toes. You want the second and the third toe to point up and back. And then spin your navel over towards your right thigh bone. So I'm going to slide my hands down, lengthen my chest towards the right ankle, and keep flexing my toes back towards my shin. Now, ideally, you feel this in the belly of your muscle on the hamstring, not around your knee or your gluteal fold. You can even take your left hand and kind of rub the back of your leg. And breathe. Perfect, y'all. Now on your next inhale, slowly rebend your right knee. Walk yourself forward. Curl up your left toes. Lift your left knee so you're in a low lunge. Extend your left heel towards the back of your mat and get a stretch through your left calf. Your frontal rib cage right side is probably pressing into your right thigh. Take your inhale here. And then as you exhale, straighten through your right leg. My hands are on my blocks. Lift your left leg and dump your head down. Just lengthening out one more time through your right hamstring. Inhale here. And then exhale, gently place your left foot down next to the right. You're in a forward fold. Chest to your thighs. Let your head hang down. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Reach your arms out and up. This time, exhale, drop your left fingertips in between your shoulder blades. Your right hand catches your left elbow. Let the back of your skull press into that soft space of your left forearm. Inhale, lengthen first. And then exhale, hinge over to the right, stretching now through your left tricep, your left armpit area, possibly your lats, right? Your rhomboids. And then inhale right back to center, reach both arms high. Exhale, drop your right fingertips in between your shoulder blades. Left hand finds your right elbow. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hinge over to the left. Stretch. And then you inhale, come right back through center, reach both arms high. Exhale, elbows back and down, lift your chest. This time, inhale, Baddha Hasta, interlace your fingers at the base of your spine. You can also grab opposite elbows, puff up your chest. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold, dump your brain, head hangs down, fist reaches up and over. Try to spin your upper arm bones internally so your shoulders relax down and away from your ears. It will lengthen your neck. One more inhale. Exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, step your right foot to the back of your mat and soften your right knee down. All right, so take your time setting all of this up because we're not in a hurry. I have blocks on either side of my left foot. Your left knee tracks over the heel or the ankle. And then allow for that gravitational pull, but you're influencing it, right? So the softening down is because you are moving your body. It's not because you're relaxing completely and letting it hang. Now roll your shoulders back. I'm coming onto like my finger pads, gonna lift my chest, stack the shoulders over the hips. But that space between your navel and your pubic bone, draw it back. So whenever you start to feel your chest lift, it's not a pinching of the lumbar spine. You're supported there. It's actually a lengthening. So your sternum is lifting up, and you're probably going to feel this on the front of your right hip, your right psoas. Breathe. Take one more inhale here. And then as you exhale, press your hands down. Perhaps they stay exactly where they are. And you shift your hips back. Straighten your left leg. Nice and slow. And remember, the straightening is just the action. It doesn't mean that the leg has to go completely straight. And flex your toes back towards your shin. There can be a baby bend to your left knee or a deep bend. Now I am going to bring my hands down to the ground. You don't have to. So I want to press down a little bit more firmly, draw my left hip back, right hip forward. And then really focus on lengthening my spine by pulling my clavicles and my sternum towards my left ankle rather than my nose towards my knee. Breathe. Those of you that liked it, if you want to take your right hand and start to rub the back side of your right leg. Make sure you stay with your breath. Don't cheat yourself on the breath. The breathing makes everything better. All right, y'all. On your next inhale, walk yourself forward. Curl up your back toes. Lift your back knee. And then when you're ready, press your hands down onto your blocks. You're in this low lunge. Let your right heel sink back and stretch through your right calf. Continue to pull your belly in and up. Relax your brows. Breathe into this. Inhale, begin to press your weight into your left foot. Shifting forward on the exhale, straighten your left leg, lift the right, drop the crown of your head down. Dial your right pinky toe down. You can gaze back at it. Notice if it's pointing out to the right. We want an internal rotation of the thigh bone. That's your inhale. Exhale, place your right foot down on the ground. Forward fold. Your feet can be together or hip width distance apart. You choose. Now inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold, hands to blocks to the ground, whatever feels right. Those of you with the space, if you want to take your arms behind your calves, interlace, grab opposite elbows, just breathe. Now release your hands back down to the ground and then to your blocks. On the inhale, sit your bottom back and down. Bend into your knees. We're not going to make this super crazy, just enough to shorten the hamstrings a bit. Set yourself up for success. Go ahead and press most of your weight into your heels, some weight into the ball mounds of your feet, and then your toes are light. And then lift your chest. Shoulders come up over the hips, arms up overhead. Breathe here. Utkatasana, your first chair pose. Navel to your spine. Support your low back. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, open arm twist. Left arm forward, right arm back. Good, y'all. Breathe. And then inhale, swim your right arm down, forward, and up. And exhale your right arm forward, your left arm back. And then inhale, your left fingertips drop down, reach forward, reach up. Exhale, straighten your legs, take your elbows back and down, and lift your chest. Inhale, bind up your hands. Roll your shoulders back. Exhale, hinge at your hips and forward fold. Drop your head down, fist up and over. Inhale, hands to the earth, lengthen your spine. On the exhale, step your feet back. I'm going to slide my blocks out of the way for a moment. You're in a high plank, but it's literally a transition. On the inhale, soften down to your knees. Spin your elbows towards the back of your mat. And then as you exhale, stick your bottom up. Ashtangasana, knees, chest, chin. It's like a little inchworm. Gaze is forward. And then you inhale, slide down to your belly, untuck your toes, pubic bone to the earth. Roll your shoulders back and lift your chest. Bhujangasana, your cobra pose. Hug the elbows in. And then exhale, melt yourself down. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest. And then exhale, come right back down. Now on this round, let's say, bring your hands out off of your mat and then cricket wing your elbows kind of up, yeah? And then come onto your finger pedals, unless you hate this, and you can skip it, right? On the inhale, roll your shoulders back. Maybe you lift up just a little bit higher. So this is stretching a lot across my low abs. And then on the exhale, dip your right shoulder down and gaze left. And then you inhale, come right back through center. Lift and exhale your left shoulder down, gaze right. Inhale through center, one more round, or you're skipping it. Exhale, right shoulder down, gaze left. Inhale, center. Exhale, left shoulder down, gaze right. Inhale to center. And exhale, just come down, bring your forehead down, bring your arms down by the side body, your palms face down, just rest it out. And then you can roll your hips kind of side to side. And then bring your hands underneath your chest, your shoulders. On the inhale, I tuck my toes. Pull your heart forward to lift it so that you lengthen before you lift, decompressing your lumbar spine. And then exhale, shift your hips back to Balasana, child's pose. So hips to your heels. Reach your arms forward. I'm going to stay in box pose because it feels better to me today. So you always have that option as well, right? You can stay on all fours or take your hips towards your heels. I'm actually going to stay on all fours and do a little bit of like undulating through my spine because it feels good today. You do you. About 3 more breaths. All right, y'all. It's me on all fours. Press your palms down, curl up your toes, inhale here. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back and find your downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hips high, hearts low. And then inhale, float your right leg up into the sky. On the exhale, bend your right knee, stack your hip, yawn it open, circle it out if you're into that, or just be still. And then re-lengthen right leg long, that's your inhale. Exhale, step your right foot all the way forward. Let your left heel go flat. Bend into your right knee. Inhale, bring your shoulders up over your hips, your arms up over your head. So Virabhadrasana A, Warrior One. Let your right knee track over the heel or the ankle. Seal your outer edge of your foot down. Reach your arms to the sky. Breathe. And I'm going to take my hands to my hips for just a moment. You don't have to make it perfect, but just know that the left hip typically wraps forward alongside the left side rib cage. And just be here for a moment. So take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, straighten through your right leg. Inhale, reach your fingertips just a little bit higher. And then exhale, hinge at your right hip. Bring your hands down. Option to have your hands on blocks or on the ground for your pyramid pose. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward. You can have a baby bend in the right knee. Your right leg can be completely straight. You find the thing that feels the best. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, spin your navel towards your right thigh bone. Breathe. And as you breathe in, you know you're breathing in. And as you're breathing out, you know you're breathing out. On your next inhale, re-bend your right knee. Bring your shoulders over your hips, your arms up over your head. And on the exhale, open yourself up to Warrior Two. Gaze over your right fingertips. Relax your shoulders back and down. Good. And so the right heel typically intersects the midline of your left inner arch. Just kind of check it all out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know. And then rebend your right knee. Drishti to the right fingertips. And then flip your palms. Gaze to the soft center, the pool of your right palm. And don't take it away. Inhale here. Stay for the exhale. Now inhale, straighten both legs. Reach your arms up overhead. Seal your palms together. And then exhale, open it back. Gaze is still at your right palm. Two more just like that. Inhale, straighten your right leg. Reach your arms up overhead. And exhale to open. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, let your palms face back down. Exhale your right forearm to your right thigh. Reach your left arm up and over. Now, although it's gentle and you are supported with your right forearm to your thigh, make sure it's not all of your weight, right? Those of you that have it, if you want to drop your right hand down, reach your left arm up and over, feel free. Your left arm can circle. You can half bind with your left forearm, whatever it is that you need, just take it. And then inhale, bring your shoulders back up over your hips. Gaze to your right fingertips. On the exhale, windmill your hands down to the inside of your right foot. And then heel toe your right foot over. Soften your left knee down to the ground. Inhale right here. And then exhale, shift your hips back. So now it's a diagonal half split. It's a little bit different. And then you can stay or you can rock forward and backward, right? You do you. If this feels great and you want a little bit more, I invite you to rock back forward. Turn your right toes very slightly out to a diagonal and move into a diagonal front split. So you just slide your right leg out. You're still flexing your toes back towards your shin. Breathe here. Good, y'all. Very nice. You could also be high, right? You don't have to be down. Find something that feels good. And then when you're ready, we all shift back and then walk yourself back forward. All right, y'all. So from here, curl up your left toes, lift your left knee, and just step your right foot back and lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Nothing fancy, just get there how you get there. And then inhale, float your left leg up to the sky. On the exhale, bend your left knee, stack your hip, yawn it open, feel that out, chest in towards your right thigh, whatever feels good. And then inhale, lengthen your left leg. Exhale, step your left foot all the way through. Seal your right outer edge of your foot down to the ground. And then inhale, bring your shoulders over your hips, your arms up over your head. Stay for your exhale. So find your warrior one, left side. Let your right hip wrap forward. Right side rib cage as well. Breathe. Pull the pit of your belly in and up. Support your lumbar spine. Your arms can reach up to the sky. Just breathe. And then as you inhale, straighten your left leg. Stay for your exhale. Let your right hip wrap forward. Inhale, lengthen your spine as much as you can. And then exhale, hinge at your left hip. Bring your hands down to the ground or your blocks. Slide your left hip back, your right hip forward. Lengthen your spine. Take an inhale and exhale, fold. All right, y'all. On your next inhale, rebend into your left knee. Press your right foot down. And then lift your shoulders up over your hips, your arms up over your head. And then exhale, spin it open to warrior two. Slide your feet to where the left heel intersects more or less your right inner arch. Rebend your left knee. And then your arms open out to a T, drishti towards your left fingertips. The gaze, the breath are important so that nothing else matters, right? You're just looking at your fingers. It's all good. Let your pelvis drop down a little bit more. Rebend into your left knee. Now this is the part. Flip your palms so that your gaze, your drishti, rests on the soft center, this pool of your left palm. It's the only thing that matters, right? Nothing else. And you don't take your gaze away until we're finished. Stay for your inhale. Exhale, drop a little bit lower. Now inhale, straighten both legs. Reach your arms up overhead. Gaze is still at your left hand. And exhale to open it back out. Inhale, lift. And exhale, open. Rebend. Last one. Inhale. And exhale, hold. Let your palms float back down, facing down. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, your left forearm touches your left thigh. And then you reach your right arm up and over. You can reach the right arm around the small of your back, half bind if you want. Left hand can come down to the ground. You do you. You're only here for a breath or two, so it's all good. And inhale, come right back into your warrior two. Gaze to your left fingertips. Exhale, windmill your hands down to the inside of your left foot. Heel toe your left foot over and let your right knee soften down. So you're in your low lizard. Just be here. It's all good. And then take your inhale here. And on the exhale, shift yourself back. Straighten through your left leg. Flex your left toes back towards your shin. More than welcome to shift forward and back, so you do you. And then if you did the front diagonal split, you're going to shift yourself back forward first. Spin your left toes slightly out to the left, and then slide your left leg out. And be here. You got to squeeze at the base of your pubic bone. So Mula Bandha. Lift your chest. And breathe. Now if you're in that diagonal front split, shift your hips back first. And then we all walk it back forward. Rebend your left knee. Curl up your back toes. Lift your back knee. And just slide your left foot back and lift your hips into your downward facing dog. Now inhale. Float your right leg up to the sky. On the exhale, it's just half pigeon, right knee to your right wrist. If you want to take this on your back, do so. And then cross your right ankle over your left knee, taking supine, reclining pigeon. And let your left hip pull forward, your right hip back. When you're ready to come down, come down. Relax your brows, your jaw, your shoulders. There's a baby flex to your right foot. Now, those of you that might want just a little bit more, I'm going to walk myself back up. Now, I roll slightly over to the right so that I can curl up my left toes, lift my hips, lift my left knee, and then I slide my right leg out long, strong, all that good stuff. So getting into the IT bands, right? And then I come back down onto my forearms. Now, some of you, your left toes will be pointing towards the long edge of your mat with the inner arch down, and that is fine. I'm going to roll onto the ball mound of my left foot. And it's important that your right leg is in alignment with your right hip. And you have lots of options from here, right? I'm going to walk my hands out like we did earlier and bring my chest down to the ground. And then I'm also going to roll slightly over towards the right. I am bringing my left leg up and over in front of my right shin. So it's like a lizard leg on the left. And then I'm going to drop my chest back down. You don't have to, right? Find where you need to stop and do that. Yeah. And I'm going to gently bring my left leg back, unravel the same way I came in. Walk my hands back, lift my chest, roll slightly over to the right so I can rebend my right knee, and let my left hip wrap back forward. And then from here, press the palms down, curl up your left toes, lift your left knee, float your right leg up and back. And then you kind of choose what you need here. If you need to flip your dog or something like that, by all means do it. But I want you to be gentle with whatever it is that's happening. Let it be fluid and natural. And then let's meet right back into our inverted letter V. Switch sides. Inhale, float your left leg up to the sky. And exhale, left knee to your left wrist. And then slide your right leg long. So your left shin could be up to parallel with the top of your mat. I'm going to find what works for me today, again, with this whole left knee thing. And then wrap your right hip, your right side rib cage forward. You could also slide your left heel in more towards your pelvis. If you want to take this on your back or go double pigeon, absolutely. Find your space and then melt down into it, breathe. once again, those of you who pigeon maybe doesn't serve you, right? I'm going to walk my hands back. And then I curl up my right toes so that I can kind of lift my hips and slide my left leg long in alignment with my left hip. Now your left foot is still flexed. Now, if you're feeling limited in any way, let the inner arch of your right foot down with your right toes pointing towards the long edge of your mat as you twist forward, because it's deep, right? If this all feels right, feels great, you can come onto the ball mound of your right foot. Let your right hip start to wrap more forward. It's a deep twist as well as opening up through your IT bands. And then you might even start to come down. And then those of you that want to take that little extra, you roll slightly over to the left. Bring your right leg forward. Drop it in front of your left knee and then let your right knee point up, right? So here we are. Your arms, your hands walk out, and then you drop yourself back down. If you went into that variation, let your hands come back in, and you come out the same way you came in. Lift your right foot, slide your right foot towards the back of your mat, press your palms down, roll slightly over to the left so that you can re-bend your left knee, yeah? And then let your right hip wrap back forward. I'm going to be gentle here. And then when you're ready, curl up your back toes, lift your back knee, and then float your left leg up and back. Do what you need to do. If it's flipping your dog, opening up through your hip, it's fine. Take that last inverted letter V, your downward facing dog, and then come down onto your hands and your knees. And let's find ourselves seated on our bottoms. So I'm going to spin my feet out to the side, sit it down, and then we roll it down one vertebra at a time until you're flat on your back. Bend your knees, bring them underneath your feet, underneath your knees. And let's just take one bridge pose. Press your feet down, inhale, lift your hips up into the sky. Stay for the exhale, soften your glutes. Press your feet down and away from you, so it's the inner thighs, hamstrings, quadriceps. And as we get into this space that's starting to close down our practice, remembering how you do anything is how you do everything. So do you get to the end and just stop? Or do you stay with the same level of integrity, of attention to your body, to your breath, to the quality of your mind as you started, right? Soften your hips back down to the ground. Inhale, open your arms out to a T. And then exhale, drop your knees to the right, turn your face to the left. And then you inhale, let your knees come back through center. And on the exhale, drop your knees to the left, turn your face to the right. And then you can windshield wiper side to side. If you need something deeper, you're more than welcome to bring the knees more into a 90-degree bend, drop them to one side. Find a spinal twist that really speaks to you right now and take that one. And if you are deepening your spinal twist, go ahead and move to the other side. We're all going to meet eventually in legs up the wall. So press your feet into the sky. If you want a supported waterfall, if you want to take Shavasana, I mean, y'all are at home, right? If you want to press your bottom up against the wall and take your feet into the sky and truly get a supported legs up the wall, move your mat, right? There's nothing holding you to the confines of that rectangle. So find that space. Let your feet come up into the air for just a few moments. Relax your brow and your jaw. Maybe roll out your ankle. And then when you are ready, find yourself into your Shavasana. Let your legs extend forward unless you're taking one of those supported options and you want to stay there, then stay there. Let your feet hang comfortably open if you're fully down on the earth. Close down your eyes. Let the bottom side of your body be heavy and grounded. It's rooted. And the top side is light. It's weightless and floating. You truly allow yourself to drop in, to be in this space between your physical asana practice and the rest of your life, right? This sweet spot where nothing else matters, where you can just breathe in, breathe out, soften, and lean in. Rest and enjoy. If what you need is to stay here a little bit longer, I want you to stay right there. Otherwise, we'll meet slowly by wiggling the fingers, the toes. On your inhale, float your arms up overhead. Find your full body stretch. I invite you to keep your eyes closed as long as possible. The whole time if you can, yeah? And your knees and towards your chest. Roll over to the right. And then take your time. We're all going to meet right back in Sukhasana, crossing your feet at the ankles. Roll your shoulders back. Close your eyes. Just sit here for a moment. Man, I don't know if it's just me, but even as teaching, leading this today, I was able to drop in and just be. And sharing something with y'all that I find that I wrote like 2 years ago, maybe longer. And it said, I want to get to the place where the person I was meant to be gets a second chance, right? 2 years ago, I thought I was there. So it turns out 2021, I'm right back there. Like, let's let that person I'm supposed to be get a second, a third, a fourth chance. It's like, man, I'm there. And then some days I'm like, well, I'm back at square one. We're trying it all over again. We're starting from scratch. And you know what, y'all? That's a-okay. It's fine. It's good. We're going to keep stepping one foot in front of the other, doing the next right thing and then the next, stepping on our mats as often as possible, breathing, moving, forgiving, loving, accepting, and we'll go from there. Yeah. So happy I get to do this with all of you, this thing we call life, for all of its ups and downs. I appreciate you. I see you. Thank you for being here. And whenever it is that you do this, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And namaste.